Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. I'm already in motion here. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, we are making something that you guys have asked me about a million times, Mississippi pot roast. But what makes mine different is that we are not using packets. We are not using a packet of ranch. We are not using a packet of au jus because you do not need it. If you have got a spice cabinet with garlic and onion and oregano and thyme, and you've got beef stock on hand and pepperoncini and some Worcestershire sauce, you do not need it. We will thicken the gravy part later. It is so good, so delicious. And if you want to use a packet stuff, by all means, use a packet of each. But the reason why I try not to, because first of all, I don't want to buy anything that I don't have to. Because the grocery bill these days is adding a level of stress I don't need. You know what I just realized? I just realized I'm gonna go pepperless right now because my pepper grinder is upstairs, but that's fine. But for those of you that watch me from all over the world and you don't have access to packets of ranch, packets of all that, you don't need them. It's gonna be so delicious. You're gonna thicken up the gravy later and it is so luscious. You're going to love it. I'm gonna just simmer mine, slow cook it on my stovetop in my little small Dutch oven. If you want to put this in the crock pot, please sear your pot roast first. There's nothing more frustrating than when people make a recipe when it comes to any kind of meat and they don't sear it first. You get like gray meat that has no flavor on it and that doesn't have good color on it, and color equals flavor. So do yourself a favor and sear it first. All right, let's see what she looks like. I'm using my little tiny Dutch oven, and I always love using it. It makes me feel, I don't know, not there yet. You see this? I want that to be way deeper in color. Nobody wants no gray meat. Nobody wants gray meat. So let that go. In the meantime, I have thinly sliced some yellow onion and some garlic. Again, these are flavors you'd find in a packet, but why? You know you got onion. You know you got some garlic. You know you got some herbs. You know you got some Worcestershire sauce. You're good. Let this do its thing though. I don't want to rush it. Much better. Much, much better. I'm actually not going to bother taking it out because I don't need to. So I'm going to scatter the onion. Because remember, this is going to cook a long time. And the garlic around. In about 3 to 4 minutes, that bottom side will be a beautiful golden brown, and then we'll add the remaining ingredients. Gorgeous. Now, if you're making this in your crock pot, okay, this is the point where you would take the beef out and you put it in the crock pot with some stock. You don't want as much stock as I'm using. You're gonna wanna use a lot less of it. So I'm using 1¼ cups, but you would wanna use, I'm actually using right around the cup, but you would wanna use like a ½ cup. Some Worcestershire, good flavor. Some dried oregano, thyme, onion, garlic, all the goods. I don't know why people use a stick of butter. You do not need a full stick of butter. Tell me, trust me, a couple of tablespoons will do the job just fine. Pepperoncini are a non-negotiable. I think these are what makes this so dang delicious. So good. So I'm gonna add about, I don't know, 6 or 7, but that's really up to you. How spicy do you want it? Okay? To me, I really can't get enough. About a tablespoon or 2 of the pickle juice, of the pepperoncini juice. I'm gonna slow simmer this covered, partially covered, just like that, for a few hours. I want that meat to be falling apart. Once it's there, I'm going to show you how I thicken it, and it is going to be so sublime, and it's so easy, right? And your whole house is going to smell fantastic, and you have a multitude of ways that you can serve it. You can make sandwiches with it, like a drip beef sandwich. You can serve it as a roast with a thick and delicious gravy, the side of mash or egg noodles. To me, that's like the ultimate winter comfort food, but the world is your pickle. My roast has been cooking for hours, and I just want you to see how, like, look at this. I just have 2 forks. I got nothing fancy. And it just literally falls apart. It is so tender. Look at this. So tender and gorgeous. Now let me give you options because life is full of options. I did take out a big piece of fat though. If you're going to make sandwiches, like drip beef sandwiches, you shred the meat, mix some of the juice with the meat so it stays nice and moist, then serve that sort of brothy goodness on the side for Dunkin', okay? If, however, you want to serve this as a roast, as a traditional sort of pot roast over mashed potato, egg noodles, you need that juice to be thicker, right? Now, if you're doing this with the packet stuff, you're not going to need to do this because it will thicken it up for you. But all you need to do is make a cornstarch slurry, which is cornstarch and cold water. It looks like this. You add it in, and in about a minute or two, that will have thickened. If you want it super, super thick, you can do heavier cornstarch slurry. I don't like it super thick, just not the vibe. But I'm just gonna let this go. This is fantastic, like I said, over mashed potato. I mean, it's sort of a must. It's so delicious. But once this thickens slightly, we're gonna top it with some fresh parsley. I've already tasted it and it tastes so good. That brothy goodness is so insanely delicious. It's next level. So once that thickens just a bit, then we're ready to serve. See how much thicker that's gotten? I'm gonna turn that off. Add fresh parsley, you need it. Now listen, I've said this to you before. I will say it again. A pot roast, a stew, anything like that is never gonna be the prettiest thing you ever make. It's just not. And take it from me, it's very difficult to photograph because my job is to make it look appetizing to you. And I know that this doesn't look particularly appetizing unless you are somebody that has been an eater her whole life and you cook and you just know that when you see something like this, it means flavor. It means full apart in your mouth. It means tender. It means all. The world is just a better place because of this, isn't it? Okay? Now you're going to have to give me a second. This is hot. And I don't have a plate near me. I have this one. Okay. Hot. It literally melts in your mouth. Super delicious. Spicy, but not so spicy that it leaves you feeling like all you can taste is sort of heat. It's delicious. That sauce, look how perfectly thick that is. Your egg noodles are calling. Your mashed potato is calling. You are ready for supper. LauraInTheKitchen.com for the written recipe. Hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.